LaMelo Ball is reportedly open to a trade away from the Charlotte Hornets, the franchise that drafted him, even though he's actually reacted to this rumor and thrown some doubt on the validity of it. And the Sacramento Kings just got hit with a massive blow as Domantas Sabonis suffers a partially torn meniscus that's going to leave him out for a little bit of time. We're going to talk about both these things and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the content for tonight, y'all. Second episode of the day, but nonetheless, when there's news drops, we drop. So it came out a little while ago from Kelly Iko of Yahoo Sports that dropped this. Amidst a rough 4-11 start, Hornets star LaMelo Ball has grown increasingly frustrated with the organization and is open to a trade, league sources tell Yahoo Sports. Now, for what it's worth, I do want to make this clear. LaMelo Ball himself quote tweeted the tweet about this and put a clown emoji over it. So throwing some doubt on the validity of it, like I said. But here, let's be clear here, right? LaMelo Ball's time in Charlotte has been met with a lot of frustration, right? I think frustration from the fans. I would even say that LaMelo, even if LaMelo Ball is frustrated, is because of the losing, right? Now, LaMelo has had problems staying healthy himself that has contributed to it. The Charlotte Hornets, if you look at their missed draft picks over the last decade and a half, you'll see that they missed on building a great team by just some of their misses. But this is a team that does have some young talent on it. Con Knippel is one of the players that's right now threatening for Rookie of the Year. He's in that ballot, that race. Brandon Miller has tons of promise. He can't stay healthy as long with LaMelo Ball. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner as well, who's worked himself into being the starter center here. He's a pick that he got picked in the second round and is playing really well for this Charlotte Hornets team. So this is a young team that, while they're not winning a lot of games right now, they do have some promising pieces on it. But it's all about how those pieces come together. And that's an important part in all of this, is how pieces come together to make an overall team. And that's where things could be at. And one could say as well that maybe the Charlotte Hornets have a little bit of interest and frustration with LaMelo as well. That could lead to them thinking, hey, we got some other young, talented pieces here. Let's see what we can get for LaMelo. Let another team deal with it. And, there's a lot of criticism around LaMelo that he hasn't learned how to win yet. And I'd say this, it's up to an organization to kind of teach and put a player in a situation to do that. And you have some questions on if the Charlotte Hornets have done that with the decisions that they've made. There's no doubt that LaMelo Ball can put up numbers. 21 points per game, 7 rebounds, almost 10 assists per game. LaMelo has adapted. He's doing more facilitating right now than he ever has before, right? And that's because he has a team around him. But then you look at the fact he's only played 9 games so far this season out of 15 games. And then when you look at LaMelo's history, of course, with the number of games he's missed, 47 games played last year, 22 the year before that, 36 the year before that. In his whole entire NBA career, the 6-year NBA career up until this point, he's only played over 60 games once, right? And only over 50 games twice his rookie year, and that year he played 75 games. So I'm sure there's mutual frustration on both sides of the equation here. And that's what leads to a situation where maybe teams have to look at and make a decision on what they want to do and go other places. But I go back to the tweet from LaMelo, the clown emoji tweet, right? So, is that a thing? We'll see, right? But overall, I'll say this. If the relationship has soured between LaMelo and the Charlotte Hornets, there is reasons on both sides why that relationship could have soured. Winning cures everything. And with the Charlotte Hornets having some promising players on that roster, could this be something that could be salvaged even if the relationship has soured some? I mean, that's only for the people inside the organization to really say. But it does raise some serious questions on what the future with LaMelo is going to be with this Charlotte Hornets team. And I guess we shall see how that works out, right? If they can get it together or not. But I want to hear from you guys on this one down below. Do you think that the Charlotte Hornets will look to move LaMelo Ball? Do you believe that LaMelo is growing increasingly open to a trade away from the Charlotte Hornets? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. From that to an injury. Domantas Sabonis will miss significant time with a partially torn meniscus in his knee. This came from Shams Charania as well, is that Domantas Sabonis was dealing with the injury before the season, but now is going to be out for a little bit of time with that. He's going to be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. Sources tell ESPN, this is according to Shams Charania. And through 11 games so far this season, Sabonis is averaging 17 points, 12.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists. And, he's not had the same usage rate that he's had in prior years. Of course, I've talked a lot here about how the Sacramento Kings should be terrified that Sabonis asked for a trade because he's going to put them in a situation to where their best player is asking out yet again, right? Just happened with De'Aaron Fox last season. But now with this injury, and especially the fact that he could miss up to a month and maybe even more than that, it raises some questions here. We're at the end of November. So let's say he does miss the total 4 weeks. You're looking at towards the end of December. There's more than enough runway to still get him moved by the trade deadline if that's what they decide to do. But now you have to ask yourself the question here, like, what's going on with Doug Christie? What's going on with the team? The team is off to a super slow start right now, right? And there have been some rumors floating around that Sabonis could be somebody that was already traded. This one comes from Sam Amick, who said this. The reason the Kings were comfortable doing the Keegan Murray contract is because partly, at least, they not only valued him within their program, but they learned that he's got a lot of value around the league. So as it relates to Sabonis, my understanding is that they are at least a few teams that have raised their hand to say, yeah, he's somebody we want to talk about. And Sabonis is that level of talent, right? Now, Sabonis has had his own injury issues and things going on with the Kings and, the question about like his defense and stuff, but you look at him as a player that can score, he can rebound. He's pretty consistent in both those things. He's always going to be towards the top of the league in double-doubles, but is that enough, right? But now this injury throws some more questions on top of a franchise and team that already had tons of questions with where they are right now and what the future is. No trade value for Zach LaVine. DeMar DeRozan being the veteran there that kind of sucks out the energy of the room. The Kings are 3-12 on the season. And in a Western Conference where a slow start can completely doom U.S. teams separate themselves. You look at the East, for example. Between number 1 to number 10, there's 5 games separating. Between number 1 and number 10 in the Western Conference, 9 games. Almost double the amount of games are separating those teams. That's how the different conferences and how it works out there. So, they're going to have to try to figure something out. And that may be to forge a path forward. Now, the problem with the Kings is that, they don't have a lot of, like Keegan Murray, yes, young talent there. They got Devin Carter, who we don't know exactly what he's going to be except a bad hairline as things stand so far. But the Kings do own all their draft picks. So if they do decide to bottom out, trade everything, stack draft picks, they could be a team that is bad for a little while, but stacks assets and puts themselves in a situation to be asset rich as the season goes on. And as the years go on. And that's what they're going to have to make a determination about. And I guess we'll see what shakes out with that one. But overall, I'll say this. The injury to Domantas Sabonis sucks for a franchise that I'm sure is still hoping that there may be some light at the end of the tunnel. Now, does this help, hurt, or anything as far as trade value or anything like that? That's going to be the part that remains to be seen. But as always, let me know what you guys feel down below. But that does it for today's episode of NBA Central. LaMelo might win out. The Kings lose Sabonis at the worst possible time. Trade buzz growing for both franchises, and we'll see how that's going to go. But let me know what you guys think down below. Should Charlotte move LaMelo Ball? Are the Kings now headed towards a big shakeup and a completely blow up of their roster? Drop your comments, hit the like button, hit subscribe as well. You already know. Stay locked in and stay hoop ready as well. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything basketball related. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.